Hello and welcome to IP Study Video Lectures, and today we are going to discuss chapter 12 from grade 7 Social Science, and name of the chapter is The Earth's Atmosphere. In this chapter we are going to discuss three important topics: composition of the atmosphere, structure of the atmosphere and importance of the atmosphere. So I think all of us might have heard or even read about atmosphere. So what is an atmosphere? So atmosphere is the thick gaseous envelope or layer that surrounds the earth from all the sides, and it is attached to the earth's surface by the earth's gravitational force. Yes, so the gravitational force plays an important role here. Okay, the earth's atmosphere is a very important component for the existence of life on earth, because as we all know, life exists on earth because of air, water, soil, land and so on. So air being the part of atmosphere, it is very much important for the existence or survival of life on earth. So now let us see the composition of atmosphere. That is the first topic. So the atmosphere surrounding the earth, it is composed of several gases. However, there are two primary gases that comprises the 99% of the total volume of the atmosphere, and these are nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, if we can see here in this diagram, we can see nitrogen is the most abundant gas and it comprises approximately 78%. Okay, on the other hand, oxygen is the second most abundant gas and it comprises 21% of the earth's total atmosphere. Nitrogen, it is very much important for the growth of the plant. However, plants cannot directly take the atmospheric nitrogen. So how do plants take the nitrogen? There are certain bacteria that live in the soil or the roots of the plant, and these bacteria, they transform the atmospheric nitrogen into a form that the plant can absorb through their roots. Okay. Oxygen, on the other hand, it is very much important for our respiration process, right? When we breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. On the other hand, plants take in carbon dioxide during photosynthesis and gives out oxygen. So in this way, the balance of oxygen is maintained. We breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. On the other hand, plant take in carbon dioxide and gives us oxygen. Okay. Apart from these two, the third one is argon. Okay, the proportion of argon, however, is very much less. See, 0.93%, and argon is mostly used in industrial processes. Now let us see carbon dioxide. However, carbon dioxide proportion in atmosphere is very less, 0.03. But we should understand this proportion has increased in the past 100 years due to human activities. Human activities like burning of fossil fuels, industrial pollution and even cutting of trees or deforestation has led to the increase of proportion of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And as we all know, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. Such as increase in the proportion of carbon dioxide strengthen the greenhouse effect, which contributes to the global warming of the earth. So now let us discuss the second topic, that is the structure of atmosphere. So the modern knowledge or information about the atmosphere has mostly been derived from the data given us by radar, satellites or rockets. Okay, so we know that Earth atmosphere consists of few different zones or layers, and based on the characteristics of temperature and pressure, Earth's atmosphere can be classified into 5 important layers. And these are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere, as shown in this diagram. If you can see here, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and lastly exosphere. Okay, so now let us discuss troposphere. So troposphere is the lowermost layer of the earth atmosphere, and it is this layer in which we all live. Okay, and in this layer I'll mark minus and this arrow to show that there is a decrease in temperature by 1 degree Celsius in every 165 meter increase in elevation. and this is known as normal lapse rate. So that means in every 165 meter increase in altitude, there is a degrees of 1 degree Celsius in temperature. Okay. Another important feature or characteristic is the troposphere is the densest zone of the atmosphere. Okay. And the average thickness or the altitude of troposphere is 13 kilometer. However, this also varies in equator and pole. In equator, it is almost 18 kilometer, and in poles, it is almost 8 kilometer. And we should also know that the troposphere is also called weather making zones, because all the weather related phenomena like rainfall, cloud, storms, fog, mist exist in this zone only. Okay. And you can see here there is a boundary here, and this boundary is also called tropopause, and tropopause act as a boundary between the troposphere and the layer lying above it, that is stratosphere. So now let us discuss stratosphere. So after troposphere lies the stratosphere, and in this layer there is an increase in the temperature with increasing altitude. Okay, and one of the important feature is this: there are no clouds or only the highest clouds in this layer. Okay, and mostly aeroplanes tend or prefer to fly in this layer because of this. There are no disturbance. Another important feature is the presence of ozone layer. Okay, ozone plays an important role in absorbing the harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun. As a result, there is an increase in the temperature because of this. If we see the extent of a stratosphere, it extends from 13 to 50 kilometer from the tropopause to the stratopause. So that means stratopause is the uppermost boundary of the stratosphere, and stratopause act as a boundary between stratosphere and mesosphere. Okay. So now let us see mesosphere. So after stratosphere lies mesosphere, and I will mark with minus to show that there is a decrease in temperature with increasing altitude, and here the temperature almost becomes minus 80 degree Celsius. That means it is also the coldest layer of the atmosphere. Okay. Another important feature is here the meteorites, they burn after entering from space into this layer. That means this layer protects us from the incoming meteorites also. Okay. The extent of mesosphere is from 50 to 80 kilometer, and mesopause act as a boundary between mesosphere and thermosphere. So now thermosphere. After mesosphere lies the thermosphere, and in this layer there is an increase in temperature with increasing altitude. One of the important feature of this layer is the presence of ionosphere, and in ionosphere there are electrically charged ions that enables wireless transmission. This means that the radio waves that are transmitted from the Earth's surface are reflected back by these ions, and it helps in long distance communication for us. Okay. Another important thing is thermosphere also means heat sphere, and in this layer the temperature can reach almost 2000 degree Celsius or more. Now lastly, exosphere. So we do not know much about this layer, and this is the uppermost layer of the atmosphere. Its height or its altitude extends up to 1600 kilometer, and it ultimately merges with interplanetary space. Okay, only traces of lighter gases like hydrogen and helium is found in this layer, and in this layer temperature can reach up to 5500 degree Celsius, and it is in this layer our satellites and other objects orbit the Earth. So now let us see the last topic, that is the importance of atmosphere. Why is atmosphere important for us? Firstly, it contains oxygen, which is very much important for our survival, right, as we have already discussed the respiration process. Secondly, carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas they are very much important for our survival. As already discussed, nitrogen help in growth of plant. On the other hand, carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas plays important role in trapping the heat. Otherwise, the heat can be radiated and lost in the space. That means earth will become very cold. But it is the gases like carbon dioxide that traps the heat and makes earth livable for us. So next point, atmosphere play a very important role in formation of weather phenomena like rainfall, storms and wind. Okay. Ozone layer. So now the ozone layer is present in atmosphere and it plays important role in protecting us from the harmful ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. Next point, it allows radio transmission and long distance communication. So all the GPS services, long distance communication, television signal, it is the atmosphere or specifically the ionosphere that plays important role in this. And now lastly, it protects us or the earth from the meteorites. As already discussed, it is in the mesosphere that the meteorites, they burn up while entering from the space. So it protects the earth from the meteorites. With this, we have come to the end of the chapter. Now let us revise or see the important points that we have discussed in this chapter. So atmosphere is the thick gaseous layer that surrounds the earth, and gravity plays an important role because it is the gravity that attaches the atmosphere with the earth. Its composition, nitrogen, oxygen and other gases. Nitrogen and oxygens are the two primary gases, and apart from that, argon, carbon dioxide and others are also there. When we talk about structure, we have 5 important layers: troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Okay, so troposphere is the lowermost or the weather making zone. In stratosphere lies the ozone layer or the ozone that protect us from ultraviolet rays of the sun. So here, mesosphere, it is the coldest layer and it protects us from the meteorites. Thermosphere, in thermosphere it is also called heat sphere, and here the temperature increases and reaches up to 2000 degrees Celsius. And lastly, exosphere, it is the uppermost layer and we do not know much about this layer. So now, atmosphere plays a very important role, we have already discussed it. So I hope this lecture was able to clear all your doubts regarding this chapter, and we will again meet in our next session. Till then, bye bye and see you. Thank you.